welcome to the show. I am super excited to be back on the podcast scene. If you've been following me for a while, you know this is kind of like a relaunch, rebrand of the podcast that I have done previously. So if you have been following me for that long, thank you and welcome back. So glad to have you here, and welcome to all the new listeners. I appreciate you as well. So first I want to apologize because I was supposed to get this episode up like weeks ago. But what had happened was, life happens. I got a little sick, got caught up with work and school and all that good stuff. So I had to push it back, but no worries. We here. And I'm ready to dive into this first episode. So as I was getting prepared for this, I'll be completely honest, I was in my overthinking, perfectionism, you in your head too much type vibe. And I was making notes and planning everything out. And I figured out that when I do that, I tend to push things back and nothing gets accomplished. So I was taking notes and writing a script for this episode. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put all of this away and just speak from the heart and just have a conversation with you all like you were just sitting next to me in a lounge, like we're just having just a chill conversation. So I hope that's okay with you. Bear with me. This episode might be all over the place. I really don't know. I'm not planning it. We're just going to vibe. All right. So I really want to talk to y'all about something that I had been struggling with for the last couple of years. And I know I get this question a lot of why I've been on and off social media for the last couple of years. Again, if you've been following me for a really long time, you guys know that a couple of years ago, I was like heavy on my grind. When I say heavy, I mean team no sleep. Like literally, I was running on like 1 to 2 to 3 hours a night max. Every night, not eating right, always on the road, always flying somewhere, handling my business because I ran multiple businesses. And, I was doing the full-time entrepreneur thing and just trying to find my way and get this money, right? And it got to a point, y'all, I'm not going to hold you. It got to a point where me being on the grind and money and business was kind of just like running my life to the point where I was ruining relationships as far as friends, family. My health was failing. I was just not in a good space. Mostly emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Everything was starting to crack. I'll be completely honest with y'all. So I want to take y'all back to maybe, let's see, what's this year? 2022? Let's go back to like 2018-ish. So I was at like the peak of my entrepreneurship journey, right? Business was going well. I was making great money, working for myself full time. I was doing really well. And from what you all probably saw, like on social media, everything was going great, getting money, traveling, just doing a damn thing, right? But I think in 2018 is when I started to notice some things going downhill very quickly in other aspects of my life. So business was going great, but relationships, especially my mental health, was taking a decline. I'll be completely honest. But not only that, it was my physical health as well. So as I mentioned, I wasn't getting any sleep at all. I wasn't eating properly. I was hitting the gym like 3, 4, 5 times a week, but I wasn't taking care of myself as far as like nutrition wise. So it was just everything besides business was like going downhill very, very quickly. Right. So for me, I think what it was is at the time I was kind of lost. So I was trying to find myself through my businesses. And I felt like if I wasn't achieving or accomplishing anything in my other areas of my life, then this was one area where I can control, right? This was one area that I was succeeding in. So I needed really, really badly to latch onto that. And it got to a really dangerous point. And I will say that a part of that came from the type of content I was consuming on social media, listening to other entrepreneurs in the space telling me I need to go harder, I need to grind harder, team no sleep, feeding me all of this motivational stuff that is, now that I'm looking back on it, it's kind of, some of that stuff that I was consuming was very, very dangerous. And I'll do a whole nother episode, y'all, on the dangers of like this whole self-help motivational industry. Not saying it's all bad, but there are some very dangerous areas in that space. So I do want to talk about that at a later time. But consuming all that type of content all the time and having all of this in the back of your mind telling you, listen, you're not doing enough. You need to do more. You need to get this money. That's it. That's the most important thing. Me being at a fragile point in my life, especially mentally and emotionally, and hearing messages like that was very, very detrimental to me. It was very, very hard because I was pushing myself to my limits, past my limits, to the point, y'all, where I found myself in the hospital. I'll be completely honest. I'll be transparent. I was in the hospital, right? The first time I landed myself in the hospital, I literally was traveling and I was handling some business, doing my thing. Y'all saw me on social media, you know what I'm saying, doing my thing and doing some behind the scenes work of the entrepreneur life. But what you guys didn't see is I actually passed out and I ended up in the emergency room. Excuse me, ended up in the emergency room. And I was being treated for exhaustion and dehydration. And then ended up staying overnight for a couple other things. So that was the first time. Sadly, this was not a wake-up call for me because I was back to the grind in less than a week. And I just kept pushing, kept going. And then I landed in the hospital again. This time I had an asthma attack. And I was in the hospital for I think 3 or 4 days because a lot of stuff was going on and my body was literally breaking down. Again, that was not the wake up call for me. So a couple of months later, I again found myself in the hospital from dehydration and exhaustion. And I think that was like the wake up call for me. I had started losing a lot of weight. My skin wasn't looking too good. I was having dizzy spells. I was having panic attacks. My body was literally telling me, girl, sit your ass down. Sit down somewhere. You're doing way too much. And so I was sitting in the hospital bed. I remember it was like 1:30 in the morning. And I was sitting there thinking like, is this all worth it? Is the money and being on the grind and constantly having to prove yourself to succeed as an entrepreneur, is it worth it if you're going to end up in the hospital every couple months because you're putting that life over your health, over your relationships, over your mental health? I was asking myself all these questions at 1:30 in the morning in a hospital bed, right? So after I started to kind of see that I needed to make a change, it kind of made me fall back from social media altogether because at that point I had created this image on social media of this strong, powerful businesswoman who's just killing it and she can't do any wrong and she getting money and she's just doing all these amazing things and she's inspiring and she's motivating me. And oh my gosh, I was getting so many messages from y'all saying how inspiring I was for y'all. And it got to a point where I felt really guilty because I felt like, who was I to tell any of y'all to get into that sort of go down that same path I was going down? If it was just going to have y'all end up ruining your relationships and not taking care of yourselves and having your mental health decline. I did not feel confident in myself, and I didn't feel right telling people to go down that same path. So it was kind of like there was this disconnect between the message I wanted to put out there into the world and what I had already created. So it was very, very hard for me to get on social media and post consistently and all that good stuff. So that's why you guys have seen me on and off social media for like the last 2 or 3 years. And it's still hard now. Like, I really don't have a desire to really be on social media like that. And it's not because I don't enjoy it. Social media is fun, but it's still like I don't know what type of message I want to put out there. Because the last thing I want to do is go back to the motivational team no sleep, grind heavy Nita that was extremely unhealthy and lonely and sad. Like, I don't want to get back to that, right? So as of right now, I'm still trying to figure out my message. I still want to have a positive impact on my community and my audience. Some great things are happening in my life. You know what I mean? Like, my family's doing well. My son's amazing. He's growing into this amazing young man. Just turned 16 a couple of months ago. I'm in grad school now. I'm relaunching 2 of my businesses that I took a break from a couple of years ago when all that stuff started. So I'll be, discussing more about that later. Met someone who is pretty amazing. If you're listening to this now, hey boo, I see you. So a lot of great things are happening in my life. And so I'm still just trying to figure out, like, what type of message do I want to put out there as far as my businesses go. And it's been crazy. It's been real crazy. So I wanted to share that with you all. For one, so you guys can understand why I'm on social media and then I disappear for like 6 months and I come back like I never left, right? Like, I do that all the time. But I wanted to give some type of explanation for that. And then I also wanted to just share this because I want you all to be mindful that, like, that team no sleep BS and grind hard and like money, like, sometimes that's not everything. And I really, really want you all to take care of yourself, especially like mentally. Make sure you're good. Like, I want you to be good. And again, I'll make another episode about the whole, self-help, motivational, inspiring, team no sleep, hustle mode, grind mode world, because I think there's some aspects of it is kind of dangerous. And I only say that because, since I've been in therapy and I'm actually in school to be a therapist right now, you tend to see things differently, because I think what it is I sought out a lot of that stuff when there was a part of me that was very, very vulnerable and I needed to hear those things. But now I think since that part of me is healed, I hear those things a little bit differently. So maybe I'll do a whole series or podcast about that. I don't know. We'll see, right? So again, just wanted to share that with y'all. I apologize. My throat is a little scratchy tonight. Allergies are kicking my butt, so I know I sound a little crazy. But again, I wanted this to be like a no scripted, kind of just me having a conversation with you. And I'm really, really glad y'all are listening again. I'm glad to be back in the podcast space. It's been a long time. This time around should be a lot more fun. I really, really want to connect with y'all. I'm going to leave all of my links below this podcast for you guys to check out. I might put a bonus episode up on my website somewhere. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to hook y'all up because y'all been waiting for this episode for a while. So I'm going to hook y'all up. So make sure that you all peep all the links below this episode. Check out the website. There's a place on the website where you can apply to be a guest on the show. I would love to have you. Leave a review. Follow me on Instagram. I'm going to leave all the links below so you can do all that, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Y'all, please, please, please take care of yourself, okay? Please. I'm rooting for you. I want to see you live well. I want to see you succeed, but you definitely have to take care of yourself, okay? So I will catch y'all in the next episode. Take care.